Greg Hewitt is a sixth grade math and science teacher at an underfunded and overcrowded Baltimore City public elementary and middle school known as John Rura. The cutbacks on staff and teachers who specialize in providing students with modified instruction in the classroom has limited Hewitt's ability to provide students with enough opportunity to reach their maximum potential in a learning environment.
Kind of got connected with some of the issues that are involved in education and felt passionate about it, so I switched careers and became a teacher.
Mary Donnelly, principal at John Rura Elementary and Middle School, explains in detail how and why staff members are frustrated with Governor Hogan's cutbacks on funding their school and how it impacts the students' population as a whole.
96% of my population receives free and reduced lunch, and we are in an antiquated building. We are at 188% capacity. We have, in addition to the main building, we have 4 portables outside. 3 of them were donated many years ago before I even got here, and they're quite old. We are slated to be renovated in 2018, but we keep growing every year, so I'm not quite sure where we're going to put all the children next year. I only have one more classroom that I could move a music teacher out of and put a regular class in, so we're very overcrowded here. 800 children here, and 70% of the population is Latino. About 20% are Caucasian, and then probably about 5% are African American and 5% are other nationalities.
Systematic issues related to equity, race, and poverty plague our nation. Specifically, the cutback on special teachers that assist English language learners at John Rura Elementary Middle School has limited the students' ability to learn and communicate in an English-speaking learning environment where there is not enough assistance for them to utilize in an academic course.
I do rely on a ESOL teacher or an ELL teacher that dedicated to that. I sometimes use peer tutoring, other students. I have to translate materials for them. I use a lot of pictures, try and take a lot of the words out to get them to understand, and then I use as much Spanish as I know to bridge the other gaps. It's somewhat typical of people from that, from politicians from that side, but it's a problem that we've always faced. I mean, underfunding's always been an issue, so I always feel I control the controllables, so I can't control that, so I can't really stress about it too much because I can't control it.
I was livid because that really cut our budget. We originally had a budget that we could manage with, but when they cut that, I ended up having to lose a position. It was a position I hadn't filled yet, but I wasn't able to fill it because of the cuts.
Greg Hewitt's passion allows him to adapt to changes in a learning environment to meet students' needs for the time being, but he believes that spending needs to be reallocated in order for students to be able to develop to their full potential. His efforts to help students are inspiring, but he himself and fellow staff members believe that in order to prepare students to be career and college ready, there needs to be an increase in spending provided to the education system in the near future.
Where they put their funding, they put it in, I think, in pockets of money that aren't necessarily essential, and I think if we don't meet the needs of our students now in education, then they're going to have to be paying a lot more later on, because a lot of these kids aren't going to be able to get jobs or have careers that will then bring more tax money into their funds.
There's a lot of wasted spending that goes in. If you could take a really hard look at the overall budget and where money is getting allocated and see if you have a big push on education, and with the Common Core standards you want kids and students to be career and college ready, then you should, if that's your purpose, that's your mission, then you need to support that, and that means financially supporting it. If it's not your mission, then you'd stop saying it and you don't need to support it. But I think you can look at where there's funding and spending that doesn't need to be there and reallocate so that the funding is where you want it to be.